Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Minahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey now, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Adventurer's Kit, and it's from the company Shepherd Kit. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. You can click on the little card in the top corner of your screen, or in the link in the description section underneath this video, and that will take you to the Kickstarter page. Find out more information, and hopefully consider backing the project. Now, Adventurer's Kit is a game for kids and families where you are trying to explore the world and all the different continents of the world and find artifacts. You're trying to find a lot of artifacts based on real life artifacts that are going to give you points, stars, at the end of the game. You have to endure events, you're using special modes of transportation that give you special abilities, and you actually have a chance to uncover these realistic material items, artifacts, at the end of the game. Let me go ahead and show you what I mean by that with a prototype version of the game. So some things you see here might change in the final version. Then we're going to come back. I'll let you know my final thoughts. Okay, I'm going to give you a brief look at Adventurer's Kit. This is a family weight game for up to 4 players. The goal of the game is to get your adventurer to the terminal point at the Bermuda Triangle and try to uncover one of the major artifacts of the world that is buried. You and the other players are going to have to uncover them. You also want to have the most points from the minor artifacts that you're going to find throughout the course of the game. Now, each player is going to get their own wooden figure that they'll take, and they're going to put them at the different modes of transportation that you'll find throughout the game. So, over here you have the different modes of transportation. You have the pirate ship, the jeep, the train, and the airship, and they all have different special abilities. So, for instance, the airship gets to roll an extra die for movement, whereas the jeep gets to avoid having to wait from different event cards. The different types of figures that you have Julia here. You have, let's see, where's the other ones? You have Fluffy, the cat. You also have Bean, the dog, who is right there on his airship. So you see on the board, you'll actually have the modes of transportation. And then down here, you have Jack, who is on his Jeep at the moment. Each mode of transportation is going to be keyed into a different type of route. So the Jeep moves along roads, whereas the train is going to move along the railroad tracks, and the airship is going to move along these air routes, the clouds. When it's your turn, you're going to roll one of the dice and see how far you get to move your piece. So in this case, Jack would get to move 1 space. Now, randomly throughout the board are these different adventure tokens, which you'll flip over and see what's on the other side of the token, and that will tell you which of the cards to draw. So this happens to be an event card, but whereas I might go to a space like this, which says I get to draw one of the artifact tokens. And when I get to draw one of the artifacts, I look at whatever the color of circle is around that area, and that tells me which of the decks I draw from. So in this case, it's the Africa deck. So I look over here, I grab one of these cards at random from the top of the deck. So this one says Statue of the God Horus, which you see has 2 stars on it. Stars are going to be important at the end of the game for determining the winner and who gets to excavate their treasure first. Whereas if I had gone to the Asia deck, you notice that there's a lot of different artifacts in each deck. It might be a Sanzing Dui statue, or there's also the European deck. So we'll take a look at one of those. There's Ionic columns, and the North America deck, in South America, the Americas, a Clovis spear point. So all these different artifacts that are keyed in to the different regions of the world. Now, it's unfortunately possible that you may have to draw an event card. Event cards are things that are going to impede the adventurers and keep them from making progress. So, for instance, it might be a Get Lost card, which forces you to move back 2 spaces. But notice that if perhaps you have the right type of vehicle, like if you happen to be the character that has the train, you will not have to be affected by that. Then there are cards like the Zombie, which says that you have to stop and be delayed for a round. Or you have Mummies, which makes you lose one of your artifacts, or the Whirlpool, which forces you to travel to the South Pole, which is going to set you pretty far off course. Now, one of the compensations for having to travel to the South Pole is that as you move out of the area and back onto track, you get to draw some tool cards, and you'll find tools spots throughout the rest of the board as well. When you come across one of those, instead of flipping over a token, notice there's no token there, and instead you're going to go down to the tool deck and you're going to get to draw one of those cards, and it's usually something useful you can keep to protect yourself from those event cards at a later time. So for instance, you have Tents, which lets you avoid losing artifacts, or you have Aviator Goggles so you can avoid waiting, or you have a Compass, which lets you avoid traveling to the South Pole in the first place. Ultimately, however, your goal is to get to the Bermuda Triangle. You want to be the first person to get there. Now, you can play the game in a couple of different ways. You can say that the first person that gets there automatically wins, or you can say being the first person to get there just gets you some extra stars, and all the other players just roll the 2 dice in order to see how many extra stars they get. Whoever has the most stars is the winner. But ultimately, all the players are going to get a chance to excavate artifacts. So, starting with whoever gets to the terminal point first, you get to uncover these actual artifacts that they have in the game, which they've made out of the actual pieces, the actual types of materials that the original artifacts are based off of. So here's like the terracotta army piece. Then we have a wood block engraved piece like South American cultures have. And further down, you see there is an Egyptian burial mask made out of really heavy metal. Like it's a really sturdy piece of material that they used there. And there is also a sculpture, like the Venus de Milo, that the players may be able to uncover. So it's just a little fun, interactive way to get kids involved in the game, like real adventurers would, exploring and finding artifacts. That is Adventurers Kit, an exploration game for kids and families. Now, let's get to my final thoughts. Adventurers Kit has a fun theme for kids and families. It's all about just going around, finding new things, experiencing new things, and just having that sense of wonder and adventure without it being too crazy and outlandish. You know, being a game that is based in real life, because there really are people who go around the world and find these ancient discoveries. And yes, there are fun event cards in the game, like zombies and the Loch Ness Monster, but those are just to sort of get kids a little more engaged, to have fun with it, to show off some of the artwork in the game, and so on. And there's a lot of interesting bits and pieces to the game, the nice wooden pieces that represent all of the different players, the way that the board looks and all the different tokens and cards, and then of course the uncovered major artifacts that you find at the end of the game that you actually uncover, which is a nice little thematic and tactile thing for kids to do at the end of the game. It's a reward for all the hard work that they did, especially if parents, cover them up beforehand the first time the kids play the game, so they have no idea what they're going to find, which a lot of people in real life, archaeologists, had to do for the first time. They have no idea what they're going to find when they uncover all of these things. They just know that they're going to find something great. So there's a lot of interesting things in the game. The game is very simple and straightforward. It's easy to learn. It's easy to teach. So a lot of kids from all ages are going to be able to play it and enjoy it. And if this seems like something that you're going to enjoy, that you and your family and your kids might enjoy, you definitely want to go to the official Kickstarter project page and find out even more information, find more pictures and images, find out things about what they have planned as far as expansions for the future of the game, and hopefully consider backing the project. There will be a link in the top corner of the screen that you can click on, and also down in the description section of the video, and that will take you to the page. That is Adventurers Kit from Shepherd Kit. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.